But yeah, no, those guys go from like, because they're bald in
so many,
in the weirdest ways.
Yeah.
Like
but their confidence and like they just look so happy.
They look
afterwards.
so happy.
I love it.
I love when she puts the little curly tops on. Because, ooh, that's cute. That's cute. The toupee queen. She does toupees.
They're called hair systems.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of He's Just the Plot, a podcast about book boys and wondering, are they okay? Here we analyze our book boyfriends and apply counseling theories and techniques we would use if they were our clients, because guys aren't the only people who ask, do you like that?
I love that.
Thanks.
Does it feel good?
Does that feel good?
Did you finish?
Please like and subscribe. And in the comments, write what you think a counselor could say that could also be said to you by a boyfriend.
In the bedroom.
Yeah, or I guess technically anything could be said to you by your boyfriend.
Yeah.
So in the bedroom. I'm Nora, one of your hosts of this podcast, soon to be counseling student no more, and full on graduated, right? So my hot take this episode is I would take the cash over cash. The quote unquote witty, and yes, I used air quotes around that, banter did not do it for me this time around. Take the cash and leave, girl.
That was a good play on words.
Thank you.
I just processed that.
Okay, wow.
That was good.
She had one glass of wine. Not even.
I had like half a shot of tequila too.
Oh, that's true.
It was good tequila.
I don't drink tequila, but it smelled not like hand sanitizer.
Yeah, it smelled good. And it went down pretty easily.
Shout out not being sponsored by Ocho, but should you like to sponsor us,
we're ready.
We're ready.
Margaritas and the podcast.
Ooh, margaritas and a podcast. Have I got a book for that? You're going to have to hear about it on another episode, though.
I'm your other host, Alyssa, who is also soon to be done with counseling grad school. I will also be graduating along with Nora. Exciting news. Honestly, as much as I love a Western cowboy romance, this book did not do it for me. I can't. But I started the series, so I feel the need to finish the series. And so I will be finishing it. But this one, Cash took me a minute to get through, and so I'm on the second book, Wyatt. That one's also taking me a minute to get through.
You know what? I will say one of the epilogues of this book where they gave a preview chapter of Wyatt.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite tropes, like friends to lovers.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And this is not that book.
No.
This was definitely an attempt at enemies to lovers.
Yeah, it was.
And the book is called Cash by Jessica Peterson from the Lucky River Ranch. This is the Lucky River Ranch series. This is book 1. And before we dive in and tell you any more,
spoiler alert.
Spoilers. Big spoilers. So if you want to read this book and follow along with what we have to say, go read it.
And then come back.
Yeah. I promise this episode will still be here. We'll still have lots to say. And if you want to contribute to the conversation, you can always leave a comment and we will reply as best we can. Even if it's on like any of our episodes, we're always down to talk about the books we read.
Absolutely. But
that being said, let's get into this. Let's get into this book. Thoughts and prayers to our people who haven't read it yet. And if you want to continue listening, spoilers are ahead.
So when Molly's dad suddenly passes away, she expected to inherit Lucky River's ranch. She didn't expect she'd have to live there and work on it for a year before it officially became hers. With her Dallas-based boot company about to go under, she doesn't get If she doesn't get this cash, Molly has no choice but to head down to the ranch and become the cowgirl she never thought she wanted to be. However, the only cash she gets right away is her sexy foreman. Cash Rivers also expected the ranch to be his, so when Molly moves in, he's about to make it hell for her. Too bad Cash kind of likes living in hell as long as Molly's there. What happens when the Texas sun becomes too much for these to handle? Find out in Cash.
I'm so good at writing synopses.
Yeah, you really are. That would have gotten me. I would have bought the book.
This is like my one thing I'm like actually good at is teasing out whether or not you should read something. I can make things sound better than they are.
Yeah, I feel like after many cowboy romances that I've read, this one was, and nothing against the author, it just wasn't top on my list. I heard really good things about it. And so I think I also had really high expectations going into it.
And I think we briefly touched on this, and this is a point in here. The author's not from Texas.
No.
This book is based in Texas, specifically Hill Country, and she mentions South Texas, which is where we live. And we were like, what are you talking about?
Hill Country is not South Texas.
I mean, but the bottom of Hill Country,
sure.
Maybe if we're getting into kind of like that San Antonio,
Bernie.
Yeah, but what she was describing,
that's like
girl.
A 4-hour, 5-hour drive, what she was describing from here. That used to be a halfway point when I used to drive to Midland, what she was describing.
Yeah, so people really underestimate the size of Texas.
They do.
Our main lead here is Cash Robert Rivers, which I will say, good name. Honestly, Cash Robert Rivers. That's a cowboy name. That's
for sure.
That's strong. A Texas name.
It is a Texas name.
I'll give her that. That's a good name. 30.
I liked his age.
Yeah, okay. Go off, not someone who's a child. Although, once again, maybe the emotional capability of a child.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a high point for this book. I didn't write it down. My high point for the book was it was over.
Yeah.
I know, that's so...
I think a high point for me was, I think, really cool of the main female lead was, spoiler alert, combining the two ranches. I think that was because she didn't have to do that if she didn't want to.
She did not have to do that if she didn't want to. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions about this book. I think actually the high point for me, actually, you know what? I do have a high point. There was a point that I was like, backward baseball cap.
Oh yeah.
That's
a game changer sometimes.
That's a clean white tee, Wrangler backwards baseball cap with a little curl hang. I knew exactly who she was talking about.
I know too.
I was like, you're right. That does get me.
Hot.
He has a mustache, but I can't. And the mustache is a thing in here, but I can't see him with it.
I can.
That one was a bit harder for me. Because when I see backwards baseball cap.
You know what I think of when I see backwards baseball cap and a
Twisters?
mustache? No.
Oh.
Because he doesn't have a mustache. Is Riley Green. You don't know who that is?
No.
Oh, God. He's a country singer. And not saying that this is what Cash would look like, but I think this is what I would imagine, with a mustache and a backwards cap with, curls. The cap's not backwards, it's forwards, but this.
Yeah, no, now, yeah, I can see it now. And the ruddy cheeks, actually, I see Cash like that, but angrier and more weathered.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, more
He's
wrinkles on his face.
Yeah.
Less Botox.
Yeah, more he worked outside all day.
Which, yes, love that. love all work. I want to stress this. Ranch work is hard.
Absolutely.
All legal work is good work. If you, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
All work has value. If you're a consultant for McKinsey, it might not be a good work. And I'll take that hot take. You can come for me on that one. But all work has some merit and some value to it.
Yeah.
So I never want someone to be listening and be like, she's just a city slicker who hates country folk and the hard. That's not. No. I couldn't be country because I couldn't do it. Like, I want that to be clear. The entire time they were talking about like giving cows their vaccine shots, I was like, nope. And I want to point out, I don't know enough about this and I didn't research, but the fact that they were just like, the vet was just like, yeah, chill, Molly, you want to try giving this cow the shot? I was like, that doesn't seem like something, but I don't know enough about vets or cows or ranch life to know if like just anyone can give shots to animals.
I also don't know enough about the vet aspect of it. And anytime that I worked with cattle was at my grandpa's ranch, and that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have a whole lot of, I never did that. So
Ooh, I will say when they were riding the horse together, that was pretty cool because I also feel like I was learning how to ride a horse at the same time. And I think horses are beautiful.
The attire that she wore to ride a horse cracked me up.
I don't know how she rode a horse in that attire.
I don't either. I don't know how she spent all day outside in that attire.
I don't know how. I'm gonna be completely. I don't know how she didn't flash anyone in the attire. Like, how did you get on the horse? Also, how did the hat stay on?
When it fits you right, it stays on. Also, the hat she wore, I don't like those hats.
I don't like why. I don't want a feather in a cowboy. Like,
yeah.
when it fits you right, it stays. That's fair. My cowboy hat is too big for my head a little bit.
Most of like cowboys and all that, they have their hats like fitted for them. And so
I do think I want to, this book did make me realize I should invest in boots. I do need a pair of boots.
They last you a long time. I've had one of mine for like almost 10 years now. I have another pair that I've had for probably like 3 or 4. And then I just bought a new pair. They're super cute. They're more like
she took
stylish.
her boots to Scotland.
I did take boots. They're comfortable.
I don't. I have boots, but I don't have like cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Okay, my low point for this book was Cash punching Palmer, which would be some guy's name. And I could completely see who Palmer was because I've dated a Palmer.
He screamed Dallas.
Yeah.
I will say she did get that right.
Yeah, she did.
When they described his truck too, I was like, Especially when Cash pulled up and saw the truck and he was like, this truck's never seen
a day of work in its life. But when she described Cash's truck, I was like, okay, at this point, you're stop. Stop it. That's not a working truck. Cash's truck was also awful.
Yeah.
And I like a bench seat.
I do too.
But like, there's no way the AC's out and you're still driving that around and being like, I'm
in
tough.
Texas heat.
In Texas heat? Get out of here. In South Texas heat? No.
South Texas heat.
You're driving the company truck.
Yeah.
Then you're taking the truck up from the ranch and you're driving it, especially if you're the foreman and you're as close with the owner as you say you are.
Yeah. A lot of ranches down here in Texas have company trucks.
Yeah. And they mentioned that they had company trucks. So all I'm saying is some of this really felt like stereotyping.
Yeah.
And I, outside of Palmer, wasn't here for it. Especially also when there were two things. They talked about Opus One wine. I was like, okay, that is very Dallas, but also, ugh. And then when she took the time to describe Topo Chico, I literally underlined it. And I was like, oh, Mexican mineral water Topo Chico. As if we don't know what that is. This was very specific for me. I was like, we just call it Topo.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take a Topo. or Topo Chico, but like
Mexican.
I've never, not once.
I've never heard anyone call it that.
Mexican mineral water, please. I'll take a spicy margarita with a Mexican mineral water. It was like, you have not stepped foot in Texas. Maybe you were in Dallas and you thought, I know Texas now.
Also, my low points was the driving aspect.
So unrealistic.
So unrealistic. She would, drive 3 hours and she would be on the outskirts.
She would be at the ranch in 3 hours from Dallas.
In hill country.
In hill country, which as I Google mapped it, and like the very edge of hill country from Dallas. And she lives in the heart of Dallas. She lived in downtown Dallas. 2 hours and like 49 minutes. No way. That's at least a 3.5 hour drive. And if you're on a ranch, you're not on the edge of hill country. You're in it.
You're in it.
You're in the middle of nowhere in it.
Dallas traffic, that's going to add on another.
Yeah, just getting out of downtown Dallas is an hour.
Yeah, it just felt unrealistic. And the timeline of the entire book was unrealistic for me. Which I guess it plays into like, in a sense, like rom-com movies. Like I feel like rom-com movies also don't have a realistic timeline.
That's true.
And so I think it plays into that, which whatever, teach their own.
So I think our 3 points, that I want to talk about with this book, the timeline of this book, possessiveness, unconscious motivation, and I'm gonna bonus point it because we're gonna talk about this throughout. The author is not from Texas and is just really, and she did not do enough research on Texas. And I never thought I would be this up in arms about Texas.
Me either.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you're going to write about something as if you know about it, then you need to do the research for it.
Yeah. I feel like especially, I don't know, I feel like Texans have a lot of Texas pride.
Oh, God, don't they?
I'm one of them.
Too much pride. If you ask anyone outside of Texas what the greatest state is, they're not going to say Texas.
It's Texas.
If you ask anyone in Texas what the greatest state is,
it's Texas.
If you ask anyone in Texas what the greatest place is, period.
Texas.
It's wild. It's crazy that they... Anyway, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail.
You are. Everyone's going to love me.
Everyone in Texas is going to love you.
Me 6 months ago almost moved out of state, and thank God that's never happening.
And I like the state you were going to move to. I was like, oh, yeah.
I hated it.
Well,
So I couldn't be more happy with where I live.
Okay.
We have our problems. Okay. Everyone has problems. Okay.
Yes. Ours is just clean water and energy. For a state that produces so much energy and like oil and like resources for energy, our electrical grid. We produce a lot of oil, but our electrical grid.
A lot of oil.
Our electrical grid, though. It's not, you know what? And I'm going to get in the weeds here a little bit because obviously producer Drake lectured me a lot about this. And the theory is that you just make it so bad that they have to improve it. I don't want to live through the bad. I just improve it.
For sure.
If we know that we need air conditioning, and we do.
It's hot.
It's hot. Actually, I feel like this summer hasn't been as hot.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. The month of June and July.
Actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
I was like.
We didn't reach 100 until.
The real feel is 104 right now.
We're sitting in some nice air condition.
We said it feels really good outside. 104 degrees.
You know what? But it does feel, because normally it's like 112. The real feel will be like 112, 125. Very
plus
hot,
humidity.
Very humid. And it's the humidity that gets you.
Yeah. It's like you walk outside and I hate this word, but like you're moist.
Mm-hmm.
No, my thing on I think Texas pride comes from that we stood on business for so long, we can't come off of that. So like
What
despite
What business did you stand on?
that Texas was the best state, you know, like everything's bigger and better in Texas, and that was so long that now like we can't divert from that, and so we just have to stick to the
Stick to the script. Conform. Do you know the saying, don't mess with Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Came about as a campaign for people to stop littering on the highways.
Yeah, everyone knows that. You can get a like $500 ticket if a cop catches you littering.
Yeah, no one outside of Texas knows that. They think that's like a slogan, like, "Oh, don't mess with." No, it's just to stop littering.
It's just like we have like "Don't mess with Texas" beaches,
and yet somehow so littered, so gross,
littered.
So gross. But while Texas seemingly plays a outsized portion in this book, or role in this book, I do want to talk about the counseling theory that we are going to be using to analyze our lead character, Cash River Roberts. Just Cash. I like to use the full name.
I could tell.
Well, I think that's such a name.
It is a name. It's a good one.
It's a good one. So today we're going to be using psychoanalytic therapy, which is a long-term therapy, insight-oriented. It originates from talk therapy that seeks to uncover and resolve unconscious conflicts, thoughts, and emotions that influence behavior. So this is Freud, but
yeah,
it's Freud evolved, right? So when you're thinking, what's the stereotypical thing about counseling and therapy? Tell me how you feel. How does your mother play a role in that? This is that therapy. And it can be very effective. The key concept include the unconscious mind. Mm-hmm. So many of our thoughts, memories, and desires are outside of the conscious awareness, but still affect our behavior. Defense mechanisms, psychological strategies such as repression and denial, which are used unconsciously to protect against anxiety or uncomfortable feelings. I think we can see a lot of those things in this book. Transference. So this is the big technique that you would use with your client, where basically as the therapist, you're trying to get your client to project their feelings about important people from their past onto the therapist so that they can work with the therapist to resolve those feelings and they feel like they've actually worked through it with that person. So that's hard to do, but to achieve that, you use free association, which a lot of therapists actually don't like using because there's a lot of ethical concerns around that and reporting purposes around that. So in Texas, we don't have to report, like if someone is like, I'm going to go
shoot this person.
Yeah, we don't. But if you were in California, you would have to report that. So it makes it hard to use free association in the way that it was intended. But basically, clients are encouraged to speak freely and to reveal unconscious material. Dream analysis. So dreams are explored for symbolic meaning and unconscious wishes. We aren't going to use that here because Cash didn't dream.
No.
He has dreams, but he didn't dream. And then insight and interpretation. So the therapist helps the client gain awareness of hidden conflicts and patterns. Alyssa, if you want to talk about, so what's the goal of this?
Yeah, so the goal of psychoanalytical therapy is to increase the insight of the unconscious process and unresolved past experiences, so then the individual can get a better understanding of themselves, but also be able to incorporate that into their life and kind of make these lasting changes within it. And so the applications of it traditionally used for personality disorders, it can be used with depression, relational problems, and more time limited and widely used today. So again, I feel like a lot of people don't like psychoanalytical theory, just because like Freud is
triggering.
And so, but I do think it's a lot more popular now with evolutions to it compared to.
Yeah, I would say we do counseling, which is inherently more behavioral.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had gone the psychology like route, it would have been more psychoanalytic, unconscious driven. less behavioral. So I think where the kind of like fork in the road is if you're a psychologist, you're more likely to be using this because you're looking at those unconscious motivators of the behavior. But if you're in counseling, you're more likely to be using cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, because you're looking at actual behaviors and direct changes to that. So if someone comes to me and they say, I'm depressed, I'm going to say, well, let's look at the actions that you're taking that can help alleviate some of that depression. And a psychoanalyst is going to say, let's look at what's happened to you in the past and how that's affecting your unconscious mind and leading to these behaviors and thoughts and feelings of depression and resolve those past unconscious issues. And so it's much more long-term. It can be, I would say it can be best for personality overhauls. So really, if you're coming in and you're like, I want to change my personality, this is probably the best one because it really helps with that individual understanding. Whereas I think behavioral therapy is more situational.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Would be my hot take. But I think Cash has been to therapy. That was a fun random nugget that I was also like, no.
It was.
So I think he needs a personality overhaul.
I think he needs more therapy.
So we're going to be talking about possessiveness, unconscious motivation, and how this author is not from Texas. So first and foremost, Cash is super possessive.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Really quickly.
Really. So like, let's start with the timeline of this book because it was so fast.
Yeah.
This happened in like 2 months, maybe max.
Yeah, because they got engaged too
Maybe that was 3 months they got engaged. But like they got it. They went
fast.
She comes down to Hartsville, which doesn't exist. It's not a place. I Googled it.
It's not.
It does exist from where the author lives, but it's not a real place. She comes down. They read her daddy's will. Mm-hmm. She gets all the land and everything. And Cash, who was promised the land and everything verbally by her deceased father, gets
nothing.
No, he gets keys to a lockbox.
Oh, yeah.
With his most prized possessions, which, spoiler alert, are just some photos.
Are photos of him and his old family.
And yeah, his daughter and his ex-wife who hates him.
She hates him.
She hates it. Like that.
She needs some therapy.
She pulled a number on her daughter, Molly. And she was like, I hate your father. He's the worst. I loved him and he didn't choose me. And for that, I hate him. And then Molly was like, yeah, I also hate dad. He never chose me either, which that is some transference there. That's a kid taking her mom's feelings, making it her own and projecting them onto her dad. So then she feels kind of entitled to this. And Cash also feels entitled to this, even though Cash keeps being like, I don't feel entitled to anything. I'm like, that's not how you're behaving.
Entitled to the ranch.
But you feel entitled to the ranch. So they meet each other at the will reading. And he's like, I hate this girl. She's driving an Escalade. She's the worst.
She also came in like with some sparkly boots.
She did. Every description of these boots, I hated.
I know. And basically like what you think a Southern belle would look like, that's what she encompassed.
And the author is from South Carolina, right?
Yeah. North Carolina. Charlotte. Where's Charlotte?
Charlotte. She's from the Carolinas.
She's from one of them.
She's from the area of Southern Belles. And this girl is Southern, not Texan. And it really showed.
Yeah.
She was...
I think there's a difference.
And it's hard to describe unless you are in it. But there is something very like delicate and put together about Molly. I could see her in Lily Pulitzer.
Yeah.
Whereas I think even in Dallas, there's a little bit of grit to it. There's a little bit of I'm still the underdog, even though I'm in New Money Dallas. I'm still like Texan. I'm still real. Like this authenticity, this feel for authenticity, even though anyone in Texas will tell you like Dallas is the least authentic place ever. But like it's still there. I don't know how to describe it. I like Dallas.
I like Fort Worth.
You know what? I've had a lot of people they like the stockyards. They prefer Fort Worth. They feel like it's more authentic.
I don't like Dallas.
I like Dallas. Every time I go, I'm like, this is a well laid out city.
I like Fort Worth, but not Dallas.
Having spent so much time in Austin and Houston where I feel like I'm going to die every time I get in the car, Dallas is a breath of fresh air for a city.
Yeah, I could see that.
No one once talked about how they thought they were going to die driving. That is, just want to say that is a big Texas thing.
Driving
in and out of a city, you're going to be like, oh, worst traffic ever. I was going 110 in a 60.
Bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper. This car was on my butt. This truck, bright headlights the entire way.
Yep.
I was going to die. Like, if that is not the conversation you're having, the moment you get out of, if someone asks you how was your drive, you go, oh, getting out of Dallas was the worst. I was in 20 minutes standstill traffic every hour. That's a real conversation. Not, oh, it was fine. 3 hours, not a big deal. Like,
nothing crazy.
Actually, 3 hours is pretty long, but also 3 hours is not long driving Texas.
No, that's short.
Anyway.
Think about it. We drive 2 hours to San Antonio for like day trips.
Isn't it 2.5 hours? We just went to San Antonio yesterday. Isn't it 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
It's 2.5. But it's a day trip. Yeah.
It's a day trip.
There and back. That's a total of 5 hours of driving in one day.
And we say day trip.
And we still built a bookshelf and cleaned an entire room. And by we, Drake and I, you read by the pool.
I enjoyed my day.
I had a great day. We also got this really good ramen in San Antonio. Ooh. It was so good. I enjoy a good trip to San Antonio. But that being said, this happens, like maybe a few weeks passes. She realizes she needs to come down. She moves into the ranch.
She has no money.
She has no money
for her boot company.
For her, honestly, ugly boots. Ugly
boots. The way they described it.
I was like, these boots are, one, not practical, and two, just ugly.
And the name wasn't. It was Bellamy, right?
Bellamy boots, which sounds like it's from Charlotte.
Yeah.
They should be called Lucky Boots. Except there's a Lucky brand, but like, I don't know.
Something more.
Something, yeah.
I think if it had been tied into the ranch, it would have gone a lot better.
Well, I think that's where they're going with the boot company.
I hope they do, because I think that makes a lot more sense.
And I gotta say, Cash was right on calling her out on like, these boots have no function. Why are you having cowboy attire without the functionality of it? You can have stylish attire.
Ariat, Tacovas.
Yeah. I actually found
Luke Casey's.
I will say this is the book that made me
look up boots.
And I found the boots I want to. I don't want to say the name because you're going to make fun of me for saying it wrong.
Ariat?
That's what I said. I said Ariat and you were like, it's Ariat.
So I think the way that you pronounce,
like sea biscuit.
I think I pronounce it wrong, because they did Ariat did a whole video on like the way that it's supposed to be pronounced.
This is like finding out. I've been saying Marriott forever and ever and ever, and it turns out it's like Marriott the entire time. Yeah. And I will never not say Marriott.
But I think I've said Ariat for so long that I'm not going to change it.
If you listeners know how to say this boot brand for me,
I think it's Ariat.
Ariat or Ariat, write it in the comments. That being said, I found the perfect pair, black, 18-inch, black seam, like very traditional stitching, subtle, practical, stylish, sleek. That's what I like in a boot, not sequins, purple, metallic. Why were there so many metallic boots?
Why was there so much sequence with it?
It just doesn't make sense.
No, I feel like you have so many other brands that do such a really good job with like floral designs on boots and just so many. But like maybe once in a blue moon have seen sparkly sequenced boots.
On Beyonce.
Literally.
At a Beyonce concert, which where I would love to wear sparkly sequins boots. And that's an appropriate place to wear them because you need to be seen and eye-catching on stage. But in my everyday life, like, what am I going to use these boots for? And that's the point of cowboy workwear. Like, it's for every day. So anyway, she doesn't have money for her boot company. We're really
going on tangents here.
Just personally don't like these boots.
I hated them.
And the feathers with the hat, like, I don't like Molly's style at all.
I don't either. But I feel like the feather with the hat is very Dallas and Austin coded, though. As I feel like if you were to wear that down here,
oh my gosh,
you get some crazy looks, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I feel like,
I mean, I go out in like going out attire and I get some crazy looks because people are in flip flops and shorts in the club.
I feel like we live off the coast
we're coastal country.
Yeah. It's very like, you have like two different types of people. You have people who dress in like Western wear, or you have people who look like,
who dress in fishing wear.
Yeah.
No in between.
No in between.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, what's stylish and anywhere else? Also, I just don't like feathers and hats. Even if I saw it in Austin, I'd give it a weird look. I feel like Austin's become so California.
I hate it.
It's so tech bro now that
it really is. You know,
it's not weird.
Everyone's like, I'm surprised you haven't gone back to Austin yet and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna get hot take. I hate Austin.
It's
but
not a hot take.
I'm not a city girl.
I am a city girl. Austin is hard to navigate. It's lost a lot of its charm.
It has small businesses, used to be like a huge thing, and they all got bought out because they can't afford rent anymore.
It's really frustrating. The only thing I want to do in Austin is go visit the LBJ Museum because I still haven't seen that.
There is a good taco place where they sell some
torchies.
No. They sell some really good margaritas, and they like limit you on how many you can order.
That's offensive.
I think 2 is like the max that you can get.
You know what? To be fair,
it's
though,
called de nada.
Ooh, well, you're welcome. I think to be fair, you have to drive everywhere in Texas, so you shouldn't drive under the influence. Like 2 is more than enough. But that being said, she goes down. I would say she's like there for like a month, and Cash is like, you know what? I got to make this work. And then he gets to know her. And he's like, actually, I think I love this girl. And then they start sleeping together. And she's like, but mama, I love him too.
I feel like her mom very much talks down on cowboys. Like, cowboys, number one thing is being a cowboy.
And I think, so subconsciously, I think this is her act of rebellion. Because she never rebelled from her mom. And by dating a cowboy, she's finally rebelling against her mom and unconsciously doing it. And that's where I also agree with her mom that like she got really burned by a man who wasn't going to leave the land for his family, even though he really, really valued his family. And Cash shows a lot of those
same traits.
Yes, even though he was like, I'm different.
Yeah. I'm
going to make these plans. I'm going to do all this stuff to support Molly. She should be in Dallas, but then immediately makes plans for her to live
like the studio that he was going to build on the ranch.
At the ranch. Yeah.
And
like
the little town, like storefront in their downtown area.
I'm going to let you be free by showing you all the ways you can stay here.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my first like real thing about Cash. He is way too possessive for me. I understand like possessiveness is sexy and hot, and you could feel taken care of by it and really wanted and desired. But some of his possessiveness for me had like big red flags going up. So an example for this is the bathroom scene. So basically what happens is they get into this big fight at the bar because Palmer's there.
This is where he punches Palmer.
This scene, like, really, I think, is what drove a lot of my opinions. Like, I read this and immediately wrote, the bathroom scene had a lot of questions for me. I understand the appeal of someone charging in and taking over, the appeal of aggression. It's primal, it's base, it's the appeal of giving up control and experiencing your passions to the fullest, like almost animalistic. You're letting your id take over, right? This desire, this primal desire. So there's totally a time and place for that, right? That's why you have the id, ego, and super ego. And you want to kind of live in this area of the ego where there's a balance between the id and the super ego. That's not where Cash is living in this moment. I just don't think this is what needed to happen. So yes, Cash is starting to admit that he's developing feelings for Molly, but those feelings are coming from a possessive place. He wants to have Molly. He doesn't want to be with Molly. And I think that's a big distinction. He possesses her, as demonstrated by his internal dialogue of calling her mine, claiming her very publicly without her express consent beforehand. I think this love is coming from a selfish place. The punching of Palmer may seem noble, but really he views Molly as quote unquote his, an object to possess, not an autonomous individual. That is why he feels so threatened by Palmer, because Palmer is hurting something Cash views as his, which in turn is an extension of himself, leading Cash to internally be upset by Palmer because really he subconsciously believes Palmer is hurting him and ignoring him. This has very little to do with Molly, and we continue to see that Molly yells at Cash about his use of violence, then runs away from him to process it. So she goes to the women's bathroom, specifically thinking that that's a safe place because it's women's only. It has a sign. He's going to respect this very cultural norm that men do not go into the women's bathroom, especially if I'm in small town South Texas, where that's like very upheld.
Yeah. Sorry, that brought up a story, but that can be saved for later.
Oh no, tell the story.
I was just going to say it's obviously down here, women's bathroom, men's bathroom, and it stays like that.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to Scotland, we went to Sub Club. They had neutral gender bathrooms. And so Dom had walked out of the bathroom and this man was walking in, and she looked like she was about to fight him for walking in. And a girl that was watching him was like, no. It's okay. Like, these bathrooms are gender neutral. And Dom was like, okay, I'm still peeing.
Dom was going to protect the women. She was like, if you are coming in, be uninvited.
Yeah.
But this person, it's gender neutral. It's gender
which
neutral,
is which
totally
we did not realize walking in.
We're not trying to take a stance.
I come out of the bathroom and we just weren't used to it.
Yeah.
We don't have bathrooms like that in the South.
No. I mean, like, yeah, for the most part, you're right. We don't. That's not a thing for us. We have very distinct bathrooms.
Yeah. I come out of the restroom. He's coming out of the stall right next to me at the same time. And
you were like, what is
about
happening?
to fight too. And Tom was like, no.
This poor guy has like no idea what's happening. He's like, I'm just trying to go to the bathroom.
And we both come out there and we're like, wow, what an experience.
Cultures. Who knew? Who knew men could just go to the bathroom?
Not me. Me and Dom were both ready to fist fight.
Okay, well, I'm glad you did a fist fight in the Sub Club. Shout out to the one Scottish lady who was like, oh, I see these Americans don't understand.
We didn't.
But Cash wasn't in Scottish culture, wasn't in a place with gender neutral bathrooms, was in a place that really values having those very distinct signs. And instead of respecting that, he just barges in and intimidates Molly, which I don't appreciate.
And intimidates the other person in the bathroom.
Oh my God, he's yelling at the women in the bathroom.
Get out. They're like, I just need to pee.
Like, it's not your bathroom. This isn't your time. You're not the only person.
Literally.
A girl's got to know where's she gonna go.
Literally. And they listen. I mean, I would too.
If a man came in and yelled at me, get out, I'd be like, all right,
yeah,
I'm
out.
I'm not a fighter. I'm sadly,
Get some tequila in me. I could be.
yeah, we have to pull you back. Me though, I'm like, you could take me. Have we tried peace? I'm an aggressive make fun of you to your face.
I'm gonna bully you.
I will bully you, but not through violence, through emotions. So I just want to say, instead of like coming in to talk to her and apologize to her, like he immediately goes in and I think is like way overstepping and is like yelling at her for her choices with her friends, even though he has not talked to her about his feelings. They haven't defined their relationship. So he's just putting this all on her. And then instead of apologizing for his behavior, he sleeps with her.
Right there in the bathroom.
Right there in the bathroom. Right there, which I also think is so disrespectful because he's like thinking, I'm in love with this girl. And he thinks,
let me just fuck her right here in this grody bar bathroom, in a dive bar to be exact.
In a dive bar. Like he wants to defile her. Like I think this is such an unconscious kind of almost like humiliation tactic.
Yeah.
To show ownership and to put her in her place. And it really upset me. Like, I don't think this is sexy. I think that to me, that was a big red flag.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I also didn't like it because he didn't know the parameter of, I don't even know if that's the right word, but like, I guess the relationship of Palmer. And
he asked no questions.
Yeah.
All he did was react.
All that, her relationship with Palmer was basically friends with benefits. Like they'd fuck and they'd leave.
And I get
that's
it.
all she wanted.
She was upset that he didn't show her attention.
Yeah.
And I get that because also there is an expectation, like you came all the way to the 3 hours down here and you're staying with me and you're talking to other girls. Like that is hurtful.
Yeah.
Anyone could read that on anyone's face. And she could have handled it. She could have said something. If given the time, she probably would have said something. She probably would have been like, this sucks. Or had some, like she did not need, she didn't need that. And I also feel like Cash took away her ability to say no in any situation, to be autonomous.
To be independent.
Oh,
I agree.
And also like she did not want this to be public. Like she specifically wanted privacy, and he also took that away from her because everyone in that tiny bar knew what was happening.
And then they kept sneaking around afterwards because she didn't want the ranch people to know. And
it's like,
but everyone knows already.
Everyone knows. Like
it's a small town.
Girl. Okay, so then I also said, I think he creates an environment of duress. On top of that, he keeps talking about how he wouldn't let her do this or that. Like he wouldn't let her walk into a ranch by herself. He wouldn't let her ride a horse if she was pregnant. And she has like a sixth sense. So like she goes through this pregnancy scare 2 months after, like also.
I don't even think it was 2 months.
Yeah. Like this relationship is wild.
A month.
He basically is like, I think I love her. I'm going to possess her. I want her to get pregnant as fast as possible. I'm not going to use any protection. Also,
that was cringy to me. Ick.
Yeah. It was ick.
Some of those parts were really hard for me to read.
I was like, I don't want to yuck people's yums, right? Like,
yeah.
If that's...
Everyone's different,
but I also don't feel like Molly ever actually gave consent to it. And I'm wondering how much of her relationship with Cash and his possessiveness over her makes her feel like protected and wanted and desired, in the context of she also never got that from her dad.
I was just about to say that. never from really anyone minus her mom.
And even
But,
her
like,
mom, I think she can subconsciously recognize that she was being used as a tool in that, because she also felt abandoned by her mom a lot because her mom chose work over her.
I think too, her mom gave off like possessive tendencies on the fact of like, make sure you don't date any cowboys. Like they're
Make
gonna
sure you don't
drop
eat carbs.
Yeah, she was like very particular about what her daughter ate.
Very controlling.
Yeah.
So is she going from one controlling relationship to another controlling relationship? And I feel like she's primed to be in a and I think this is probably a very strong take, but I think Cash really demonstrated and has demonstrated signs of potential abusive behavior.
Yeah.
And
The fighting,
the telling Molly what she can and cannot do.
yeah, trying to get her pregnant,
isolating
it felt
her
like
from her
almost
friends.
like entrapment to me. When they did have their pregnancy scare, and like he was like, I'd be totally fine if you were pregnant. I'd be like, we've known each other for 2 months, dude. Like,
it's like this thing, like people are always like, when you know, you know. And it's like, you're in the honeymoon stage.
yeah,
Like,
you don't know.
You don't know. And I get that there are so many stories out there of like my parents, for example, like 2 weeks in, my dad was like, I knew your mom was the one I was going to marry. And I was like, well, that's, you're still married, but you shouldn't be. Maybe you should have thought about it a little longer.
It's almost like the cab light theory when you think about it, though. On like Cash.
I was just explaining the cab light theory.
Like, I feel like Molly came in when Cash realized he wanted a family, realized he wanted to settle down. And Molly comes in at that moment when he's thinking that, and he was like, she's it. Like, she's the one I'm going to do, which is the cab light theory on, you know, say like a man could be with someone that's like, he's like, that's the love of my life. And then they break up or they break up because maybe she's ready for marriage and he's not. And then, you know, a couple months later he meets someone and he's like, oh wait, no, maybe I am ready for marriage. And he was like, this may not be the love of my life, but like, I love her. And my cab light went off.
Yeah. I love the cab light theory in some ways, because I was just explaining it to my sister. I was like, I think the cab light theory was in play for you. And
it sucks for women.
It sucks for women because it's just like a reaction.
Yeah.
It's a reaction, and then they finally process the reaction that they have, and sometimes it's not great. And I think that brings me to my second point. Does Cash want change, Molly, or control? So a quote from the book: up until this point, like Cash says, up until this point, life had been about survival. It had to be when I was in the trenches after my parents died. But now that my brothers are grown and the ranch is thriving, I see that maybe being in survival mode is a choice I made. So as Cash is realizing he no longer has the same control over the ranch and his brothers, and Molly is kind of like the catalyst for this, he's switching his focus of being able to control his life through like being the primary caretaker for his brothers and for his ranch, and like being the person that everyone depends on in his life, to being that person for Molly, because Molly has taken over everything that's important to him in his life, because she is now the owner of this ranch. So she now is the controller of his livelihood, of his dreams. And so instead of controlling what his brothers do and don't do, which I think you see that with Wyatt a little bit, where he's trying to control Wyatt being with the girl that Wyatt's with, he's now like, and I really think this is all subconscious. So if Cash is my client, like you pull this out, this interpretation, and they have to come to these realizations. Like Molly represents to me the ability to control my future and my dreams. And I need to possess that to be able to achieve what I want to achieve. And all of this is happening subconsciously.
Yeah.
I think due to his parents' sudden death when he was younger, he lost control. So you would, as you're using psychoanalytic theory, you would really have to talk about like the parents' death and the loss of control and becoming a primary caregiver, and how that has impacted the decisions that he's making today, and how much he made up for that loss of control by assuming the role of parent and caretaker for his brothers in Lucky Ranch. However, with the arrival of Molly, Cash is forced to see that his brothers are no longer need kind of caretaking, and the ranch is no longer his to take care of. So unconsciously, like, I'm going to move to take care of Molly to kind of get control over her, because then I can have control over my life. And then this allows me to change and have this like change that I feel like I need without having any like pain of change or any real change. It's just a shift of where I can get this sense of control. And I just think I think he's really controlling. And I also see that in the epilogue, or in that second chapter for Wyatt, when Molly's friend, the vet is like, hey, Molly, like, I want a girls' night. I want to go out and like meet someone. Like, can you be my wing woman?
Oh yeah, and Cash goes with.
And is like, I'm going to let everyone know that you're mine. I'm not going to leave you by yourself. And Molly was like, I think that's what she's here for. And then
Yeah, she's like, how are we supposed to attract men when you're hanging around me?
yeah, being like super possessive.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I couldn't decide like what is it that Cash really wants from Molly. And I think Molly's mom had real genuine fear over this, and I think she was won over way too quickly, because I think she had really valid concerns. Like, my daughter's about to inherit millions of dollars in the ranch that you want.
Yeah, the fact that was only brought up one time
Mm-hmm.
was crazy.
Like, that's it. That's
a
a
valid
big
concern.
motivator. And that is a 100% valid concern. And I don't think the actions of drawing up plans for a studio on the ranch shows that you are willing to put Molly's needs first.
Yeah. Well, I think the author tried to like balance it out with like, oh, well, if the relationship doesn't work out, so like he's taking this risk of the relationship not working out, which makes it seem like
It's her own ranch. What risk
Yeah.
is he taking?
that he'd get fired if their relationship doesn't work out. So I think that's where she was coming from, on like that angle of being able to like balance out. She's about to inherit millions of dollars.
Yeah,
But I still don't like it.
I still don't like it. And like, I think he knows at this point that he's not going to get fired. Like, he would have been fired by now, or at least that Molly respects the ranch enough and the work that he does on the ranch and how integral he is as the foreman, that she wouldn't fire him. I think she would just leave and go to Dallas and just let the ranch kind of run itself. Check in every now and then.
Yeah.
Go vaccinate some cows. That was wild to me. They were just like, you want to try?
I want to look it up.
If you can just vaccinate cows, if you don't need a veterinarian license to do that. But I think a huge part of Cash, and like, I think he had some good points, right? Like, I think what's so appealing about Cash, and why I think a character like Cash is so appealing, and why for me like red flags were coming up, is he's also kind of charming. Like, he's really supportive. He's seemingly really supportive of Molly and her dreams, and tried to take care of her during her pregnancy scare, tried to take care of her when she was at the ranch, and like drew her a bath. But he takes her, he isolate, like, through that support, he uses it to isolate her too, which I think is a move of an abuser. He takes her away from her family and life in Dallas, because ultimately she then decides to move away. She doesn't, very quickly, she's kind of like moved in with him.
Very quickly. She said, I think she makes a comment of like, she hasn't been back at the house,
Mm-hmm.
like the main house, in a long time.
Yeah, like, she's always with him. She's sleeping with him.
They work together all day.
She can't go out with her friends without him. Like, her Dallas friends aren't coming to visit her. The ones who do get punched. I will say he did like her best friend, but I like don't know how much of that is him being a charmer and how much of this is just like abuse. And I think this goes to a larger place in the romance genre of the idea that the male is protective, the male is overpowering, the male is dominant, and the male doesn't change for anyone except the girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's a trope that's not healthy.
Yeah.
To exacerbate. Like, I would not want my friends to date Cash.
Mm-mm.
No matter how hot he is. And he's hot.
He's hot.
He's hot.
For sure.
Backwards baseball cap will get me. Cowboy hats? Cowboy hats are a thing. I like hats. Big fan of hats and stashes.
Me too. Aren't we all? No, I agree. I think I would be worried for my friend that would be dating someone like this.
Yeah, it's too possessive and too controlling.
Yeah.
Which made me wonder a lot about this author.
Me too. And I think that's why I have a hard time with dark romances. Is like, okay, yeah, we read for fun and you read because it's a nice place to dissociate from like reality. But at the same time, like sometimes these things become unconscious and like things that might be red flags don't seem like red flags anymore.
How much of this are we internalizing?
Yeah. I think in situations like this, it's important to recognize those signs of someone who's becoming a little too possessive or too controlling. Like, yeah, it's hot to an extent, though. Like, if I want to go have a girls' night, you stay home.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Like, we have enough trust in each other that nothing's going to happen.
And it just does not seem like that trust is there.
No.
And I also, I don't know, to me, like, I didn't like the sex scenes in this book.
I didn't either.
I wasn't here for this romance. I didn't think the banter was witty.
I think it was just too fast paced. I think it was too fast paced.
For such a thick book too. For this to be like 3 months.
I will say I didn't like that there wasn't a third act breakup.
They should have broken up. I agree. Like the conflict was like, can we make this work? And it was just so easily resolved.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I was like, I
didn't like the sex scenes. They just weren't.
I feel like every
appealing.
choice Molly made too wasn't her own choice. Like even the merging of the ranches, that was
Cash's idea.
Yeah, like ultimately
like that she made come alive.
All of it revolves around like making Cash comfortable in some way, and I don't think that's particularly healthy. And I think if I was Cash's therapist again, I would work with sitting in your discomfort. Like sometimes your defense mechanisms are working overtime here with your possessiveness and your denial and your projection of a lot of things so that you can protect yourself from feeling anxious and uncomfortable. I think even drawing those plans up for the studio came from a place of anxiety that she was going to leave. Like it wasn't a selfless act. Like I really just don't think that was selfless.
He was like, if we don't make this work, she's going to stay here.
Yeah.
In Dallas. Which, I mean, I don't know. I liked that the author tried giving the interpretation that the woman gets both the career and the love story, but I just don't think it was executed very well.
I just don't think it's realistic. I think they're going to end up in divorce, just like her parents. Like I think this is a cycle, and it's very similar to how the author described Molly's parents.
Yeah. Like
whirlwind romance. They fell in love. She even looked happy at the ranch at times. You know, granted, her mom felt isolated because it seemed like she didn't have a career yet and something to do. And Molly has her career, but Molly's also about to have a kid and a career. And like, I don't know. It just really seems like it's not setting itself up for a long-term healthy relationship. They haven't discussed kind of the values and principles of the relationship and what they hold dear. Molly's just discovering who she is again outside of her mom and outside of Dallas and these perceived, like Molly takes on different identities based on the location she's at and the people she's around. I don't think Molly actually really knows who she is.
No.
And I think Cash is willing to tell Molly who she is.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is really what Molly finds appealing. And that's not healthy to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you would have to work on. I feel like I'm really dragging this book, but
We also went on a lot of tangents.
we did. All this to say, I don't think the author used a few words too that this is not counseling related. This is just culture related. She used a few words that I just don't see people using. Crude was one of them. His actions were crude. And I was like, a Texas girl would not say, she'd be like, that's fine.
Whatever.
Yeah, like crude. That's a very Southern Belle word to say.
I think this author got confused on like Southern Belles.
I think this author just wanted to write a book about someone from the South marrying someone from like Midland, Texas.
Yeah.
Like Texas State, Texas.
Yeah.
Not, I don't know. Do you think the author's actually been to a ranch?
I don't know.
Because I knew who she's talking about because like my brother-in-law's brother ranches. And I've been out to their ranch and they've made me feed the cows. And like, it's fine. And it's a lot of four-wheeling and ATVs and all that good stuff. And he works with the horses and stuff. And so like, I firsthand know ranch culture guys who do the button downs and the Levi's and all of that. But like, I don't know, just some of this also like some of it just didn't add up based on like my experiences, which is not to say that my experiences are the be all end all of experiences and what everyone goes through. But I think for where she tried to set the location, they're more similar to what she actually meant. Also, at one point, Cash called Molly a dirty stay out because she was like out until like 2 a.m. when the clubs close. I've never heard that term in my life. I was like,
some of the terminology in this book, I was just like, what the fudge?
Did she stay out with her Mexican mineral water?
Dude, just call it Topo Chico. Everyone knows what that is.
She didn't even say that it was carbonated.
No.
Like mineral water could be still.
It's carbonated mineral water.
It's carbonated Mexican mineral water. Okay.
Because it's from Mexico.
Is Topo Chico Spanish?
It's Mexican?
What does it mean in Mexican? I hope you know we're having tacos tonight. Hard shells only.
Oh, yum. Love. It's like Taco Bell.
That's the seasoning we got. How'd you know?
Drake, please tell me she's kidding.
No, we got HEB tortillas.
Oh, thank the Lord.
And we got...
If anyone's never been to HEB and you don't live in the state of Texas, I'm sorry for you. That sucks.
HEB
is superior.
HEB is one of the best.
That is my store.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say Texas, 3 reasons to live in Texas. HEB, Buc-ee's, no state income tax.
That no state income tax really gets you.
Honestly, God, I'm going to sound like a Republican. It's just nice to not have to deal with it. I pay my federal taxes on TurboTax. Shout out company that's probably scamming me.
Same.
And I don't have to worry about that state tax.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah. My ex lived in a state that did have income.
Most states have income.
And so he was like, for the longest time, he was like, I should just switch my residency to Texas because of the no
state income tax. Yeah. And it's not that hard. Most states have them and I've lived in them and it's fine.
Not me.
That's because you've never lived outside of Texas.
Thank the Lord.
Don't. You go explore. Look
I
at
do
the things that you could have if you live outside of Texas, like gender neutral bathrooms and culture.
Girl,
and
I almost
clubs.
bought someone in a gender neutral bathroom.
But you didn't. And I'm so proud of you. And you
that made me sound Republican.
It really did. It really did. Which is fine if it's fine.
I respect all bathrooms. Whatever.
All bathrooms matter. That's
worse.
That's worse. That's so much worse. I just like how I find it so wild that we're like tiptoeing around talking about bathrooms, and it's just for the point of like Cash went into a space specifically designated for not him.
Yeah. In a small town.
In a small town. And he violated that purposely to make a point that he felt was important to him. Yeah. And it all came down to him and his wants and his reactions and his desires. And at no point in this book do I think the lead female's opinions and wants and desires were actually taken into consideration for her, and not as a way to make him feel better about himself and about his choices and about possessing this woman. And so I think this brings us to the reason we do this, our biggest thing. Is he hot or is it trauma?
I'm going to have to go with it's trauma.
It's trauma.
It's trauma.
It's trauma. Like, physically, could he do it for me? Sure. But like, his personality is such a turnoff for me. I would be heated. I would be like, I can't. I don't like this. You're stupid.
The moment he would have raised his voice at me in that bathroom,
I
would have raised it right back.
You probably would. Me and Dom and Anna would be like, oh no, we got to get her out of here. Hold him back. We are not calling the police.
I love making men cry.
Yes, you do. And I don't know. Men don't know when I'm insulting them.
They think you're flirting.
They think I'm flirting. That's my problem. I'm like, no, directly, I think you're stupid. And they're like, she thinks I'm hot. No.
I think he also plays like he was really mean to her in the beginning, right? And it kind of goes into like, oh, like your parents told you, oh, that boy's mean to you. It's because he likes you.
No.
Like, no.
No. He doesn't.
Stop teaching little girls that because a boy's mean to her, it means he likes her.
If a boy changes for you, great. But don't go out changing a boy. That's not. And also let the change happen. Like let it settle. Literally.
Because you can't force someone to change.
This 3-month timeline of
that was a crazy timeline
to I'm pregnant, insane. So I also agree. He's trauma, and he's trouble. I would not want my friend to date him.
No.
So I give this 2 red flags. There's some things I like. I obviously read the book. I didn't stop reading it, which is a big deal for me. But I don't think I'd recommend it. It's not for me.
I'd give it 2.5.
Was it the backwards baseball cap?
Yeah. It was the mustache.
It was the mustache.
I don't know what it is about a mustache.
If you like mustaches, this book is for you.
I feel like all the brothers have a freaking mustache.
Is that? Yeah,
I love me a good porn stash.
Okay. Stay reading. And we'll see you next week. Stay reading.
It sounds like this author just wanted to write about Nashville.
Oh.